and we're all experiencing it very differently. But one of the great things about Globe and the community of Globe is that it's been able to cope with this pandemic very well. And there's been a lot of support coming from the regional office and Desh and his team and so on to you all. And I thank Desh for that. And we also have some support, new support in the office. And I'm very happy and excited that we have an assistant director for the GIO. It's the first time since 2012, when I joined the office, that we've had an assistant director, and her name is Denise Yost, Dr. Denise Yost, and she prefers to go as Sky. And so I'm going to turn it over to Sky to say a few words of introduction about herself.
All right, thank you, Tony. Hello, everyone, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be the assistant director. I started with Globe back in January and have had the pleasure of working with some of you as we plan our annual meeting in the International Organizing Committee, so thank you. And it's great to see everyone else here. I will say that I have fond memories of traveling to Japan and Okinawa and Taiwan as well for research. I was studying coral reefs most of my career, and so have traveled out there and really enjoyed my experiences. So my background is a science background, and I have strong formal training in physiology and genetics, and really interested in coral reefs and climate change and adaptation of corals. So that's my formal training. And then I was, blessed to have a career in universities here in the United States. I worked at Washington State University and the University of Maryland before coming to Globe. And with that, I have a lot of leadership experience, as well as taught some human development classes as well. So I have some training that's quite broad, from science to working with people. And I feel like that's a nice skill set to bring to Globe. And I've really enjoyed getting to know everyone, certainly getting to know all the ins and outs of Globe. And there's a lot to learn. So it's been a steep learning curve, but I've had great help from the folks in the GIO office to partners all around the world. And I just wanted to say thank you for having me. And I hope this is a great continuing meeting. Tony?
Thank you, Sky. And I was on mute there for a minute. So thank you all again for coming to this. And I see that there's 52 people online right now. So that's a wonderful number to have. And we will go through some of the developments in the program, some of the things that have happened over the last year since we met last time in India in January. And that was the final face-to-face regional meeting that we actually had, because since then, COVID has of course taken over or arrived on the scene and changed everything for all of us. And so what I would like to do is share a presentation with you on some of the things that have happened. Some are pretty recent. And then also some of these are going to continue into the future. And I'm not going to cover everything, but if you do have questions about any of these, or questions about anything else that's been happening programmatically, please feel free to ask those. If it's a question that's not on something on the presentation, if you can hold that until the end. And if there's questions about the material in the presentation, I'm happy to take those at any time. And so now I'm going to hopefully share the screen here. And hopefully, let me see if you all can see that. Can you all see that? Great.
Yes.
Great. So first of all,
it's in the presenters mode. So
Would you like to do that, or is it okay for you?
No, no, it's okay. It's okay for me.
Okay, no issues.
Is it okay for everybody else?
Yeah, we all can see the screen.
I'm seeing two of your presentations. The big one on the next screen.
Oh, you're also seeing the presenters.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So let me 1 minute. Let me undo that. Hmm, Right. And I think
I think it is better now.
if I let me see. If I don't do the presentation version,
You have two monitors. Is that
yes.
so? It's just pointing to the other monitor, I guess.
Oh, you're not seeing anything on this one?
No. I see it, but when you start the slideshow, it's
Yeah,
probably
it's okay.
pointing to the other monitor. But this is fine.
Okay. Let me just close this here. Okay, because I haven't had that happen before with this. Anyway, so again, welcome and thank you to the countries represented. And I believe that there are 9 or 10 officially, but then also there's lots of other people from the different countries. So a big thank you to all of you for all of the work that you do every day to sustain the program and have the program grow in your own countries. And the wonderful work that you do even in difficult times like this. So a big thank you from GIO and the sponsors as well for that. And I'd also like to give a shout out to the sponsors for their continued support for the efforts of the program. And they are, of course, those, of course, are NASA, the National Science Foundation, NOAA, and the Department of State. And then within your own countries, your own ministries, and everybody else who's involved in making the program work in your countries. So a big thank you to all of you. Without your support and financial resources, in many cases, the program would not be sustainable. So looking back, and this is the annual review cover from the last annual review that is up on the website. And you can see we were all very happy that was there in Detroit. A great bunch of students who were presenting their research at the annual meeting. And it was a wonderful experience. And of course, it was the last face-to-face annual meeting prior to the pandemic. And however, I do believe that despite the pandemic, the community has grown stronger and tighter because of the support from the RCO, from Desh and his team, and also the support we've been able to give Desh and his team. So part of that was that we did purchase an additional Zoom channel, which is the one we're using right now, to facilitate connections between the RCOs and the countries in their region. And all of the regions have access to this Zoom channel. And it's been great. These the RCOs have scheduled meetings on these Zoom calls, generally on a monthly basis. And they have proven very successful, as I know Desh talks about them a lot and reports on them a lot. And I've been able to attend some of those meetings as well. They've been very successful in making and maintaining connection, feel that way too, that they have been an added benefit to this time. And they're used for various purposes across the regions. I know Desh has brought on some scientists and other folks from within the program to do talks about what they're working on and the projects that they're working on. And he also uses them for an update on the program. And I know that you all also report out on the conditions and what's happening with the pandemic in your countries and how that's impacting schools, which in turn impacts the program. So that one small step that we were able to do really, I think, helped support the program in general. And I think it's been very successful. And post-pandemic, because we will get to that point, I'm hoping that these types of calls will continue, maybe not on a monthly basis, but maybe quarterly or something like that, or however you would see fit. You could talk to Desh about that. So I think that would be a wonderful thing to carry on as an offshoot, I guess, of the pandemic. We also, as I hope you know, we also put up some special web pages that were in response to people looking for resources and how to do, how to use the website and so on. And I'm not sure where those arrows are coming from, but how to use the web page and so on. Or sorry, how to use resources that are on the web pages. And I don't think I can open this now because it's in edit mode, but these are the links that will take you to the General Globe pandemic web page. And then on there, you'll also find links to some of the regional pages, but this is also the address to the regional pandemic page. And this, I hope you found these pages useful and the resources on there useful. And again, it's been another response that we were getting requests from a lot of people around the world about how do you do Globe in a pandemic, and how do you keep people engaged and so on. And so the websites, the web pages are a response to that. And again, thank you for staying engaged in the program in this tough time. And there's been some interesting pieces going on here as well during the pandemic. One of the things that we did internally was look at the data and if there was an impact on the data as a result of the pandemic happening. And you know, generally speaking, there wasn't, which was a very interesting thing to learn, because I did think that there would be a large impact considering all of the lockdowns and everything that people were facing and under, but that did not materialize. And this was really looking at the manual, more of the manual submissions, as opposed to the automated ones, because you know the machines aren't going to be affected by something like this, but the manual recorders, the people, the students would be, so, or could be. So, but it was good to see that that was not the case. All right. Many of you in the region were involved in this and know about the ZIKA Education and Prevention Project. And thank you for your work on that project. It was originally to be a 2-year project, but because of various extensions that we received, it lasted almost 4 years, 3.5 years. And so the funding from the Department of State officially ended on March of this year. And so, you know, the infrastructure that we've built is all still in place. None of that's going to go away. The mosquito habitat mapper is not going to go away as part of the Globe Observer app. You know, the data entry pages, all of the materials that have been developed, none of that's going to go away. It's all available still on the website, and we're hoping that, you know, the project in some form or other can continue. And as a protocol, it's a very important protocol within the program, and a lot of resources have been built around it. So just to give you some information from it, the total data you can see that was collected there from the project in total, or for the project in total, was over 200,000 data points. And Over 166,000 of those came from the participating countries that were in the project and that did receive funding for equipment and so on and trainings in the project. And then there was almost 40,000 additional points from other countries that were involved in the project. And these, of course, were countries that were excited about the project and were really interested in introducing the citizens in their country to the protocol and getting them involved. And so that was also a wonderful piece to see happen. And also looking at the trainings, overall, there were 4,329 people trained as of the end of January 27, 2021. And of course, all of these workshops had to end because of COVID, because of anything of that nature, a workshop or a training like that could not occur for the most part. And so the trainings ended last year, actually, in fact, but these were the most up-to-date numbers that we have. And then the total number of workshops completed around for the project itself was almost 260. And you can see that for Asia and Pacific, which is the top row, that there was over 1,700 people trained and there were 112 workshops. So thank you for all of your work in this project as well. And we know that it generated a lot of excitement for people, and it's a great connection between health and the GLOW program. And as I said, we hope that this type of work and initiative can continue. And we did build some sustainability pieces into the project, such as e-training modules. And these will be available on the website in the coming months. And one of these is aimed at public health officials and trying to get those folks more involved. And this was a wonderful initiative in trying to broaden the audience for the program by introducing public health officials to it. And you can see here on the slide that there were a lot of other things, right, that happened because of it. So there was training in the project, and so people got exposed to the program in general from that training if they didn't already know about the program. There's a large number of data collected and entered into the system, which is wonderful, and hopefully will help public health officials and scientists. And then students themselves were also using the data for research, which is a wonderful, it's wonderful to see that happen, and the confidence that students have as they report out on the research that they have done. And some students, how they go out into the community with that information is wonderful to see. It also allowed for enhancements to the mosquito habitat mapper tool on the Global Observer app. The science working group generated the mosquito bundle specifically for it. And then there have been a number of articles and published papers from the project itself. And Malika and Chris, if they're online, published some papers from it, as well as some folks in other regions. And so this again was probably one of the most well-utilized initiatives that the program has had in a long time, in that a lot of things came from it. There's existing resources that have now been built, and an existing infrastructure that still can be used, and published papers in the community, in the larger community, have also been, or have also appeared from this project. And so that's also wonderful to see. I did want to show the video if I could. I'm gonna see if this works. Let me see here. I'm going to.
I did.
Well,
I did figure out how to swap it if you want to play the slide.
Oh, okay. how do I do that?
When you hit start slideshow, at the very top, you should see an option that says, go ahead and start the slideshow. See, it says display settings, very
Uh,
top.
now I'm not going to see it because
Display settings in the middle.
okay.
Swap presenter view and slideshow view. Ah, okay. You know, it worked from actually. Did that help? You don't see it?
Well,
If
wait,
you
no,
if,
so-
if you start the slideshow, you should see the option to switch it.
oh, okay. Okay. Starting.
So see where it says swap.
Oh, swap display. Okay.
Yeah. There you go.
Now is that all? So
Yeah.
you
Yeah,
see
now it's
that?
correct.
Yes?
Now it's
Okay,
correct.
great. Thank you, Cornell. All right, let's try the video now and see if that'll work.
The alarm saying it's
Oh.
quote spreading
1 minute. Go back to the beginning of this.
urgent new warnings this evening
But
about
we're not going to see it because you're not sharing it. You're sharing the presentation. You
spreading
got to stop sharing and share the video.
Okay.
4 million cases across.
All this technical stuff.
All this technical stuff is right. It's just like way too much. All right. So let me stop the share on that, and then go to the YouTube video here. Go back to the beginning of this, and now I need to. This is complicated. There's too many screens. So go back into the Zoom. And share screen. And into the screen here. No. I want my cursor. Move now. There you go. And let's see here if this is a very sorry, 1 minute. There we go. No.
Urgent new warnings this evening about the Zika virus tonight. The head of the World Health Organization now sounding the alarm, saying it's quote spreading explosively. By one estimate, up to 4 million cases across North and South America in the next year. In 2016, an outbreak of the Zika virus spread throughout South America, Southeast Asia, the Pacific Islands, and Africa. Zika, like malaria, dengue fever, yellow fever, chikungunya, and encephalitis, is spread by mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are actually more lethal to humans than any other animal on the planet. In response to the outbreak, the United States Department of State turned to GLOW to develop a unique education project to help prevent the spread of Zika and other mosquito-borne diseases. Why did they choose GLOW? Because the Global Learning and Observations to Benefit the Environment, or GLOBE program, is an international science and education program that connects students, teachers, and professional and citizen scientists from around the world in meaningful research about the environment. For the past 25 years, the GLOBE program is a valuable worldwide database of earth science measurements and an international network of schools and partnering organizations in more than 120 countries. GLOBE had the capacity to develop the project and to get results. Beginning in May 2018, the ZIKA Education and Prevention Project provided training to teachers, public health officials, in 50 countries. Trainees have learned how to collect mosquito larvae samples, identify the types of mosquitoes that will develop from the larvae, map their location using the Mosquito Habitat Mapper app, and enter this data in the GLOBE database.
Hospitals are found in many parts of Kenya. As you can see, this place is swamped with marsh, which is an ideal place for breeding of mosquitoes. Our activities focus on finding mosquito larvae, and we will identify them later. And we use Globe Observer app Mosquito Habitat Mapper to take a photo of a place and to
to send data information to Globe.
Participants find standing water and pour into a collection container. Then they search for mosquito larvae. They use a mosquito habitat mapper app to record the location, identify the type of larvae, snap a photo, and send the information to Globe. Not forgetting to empty the standing water when done.
We have learned that water containing probably the important breeding site of mosquito larvae. We went to this happy site to raise some awareness to local people to stop mosquito-borne disease at the source.
Sample the water.
Heidi, is Marguerite well?
Students also use the data in their own research about vector-borne diseases and have the opportunity to present their research at Globe's annual International Virtual Science Symposium. Scientists too study mosquitoes. At NASA, scientists use satellites to observe and keep records of conditions on Earth to learn how these conditions, changing over time, are affecting the distribution of mosquitoes and consequently mosquito-borne diseases.
This project is demonstrating that you can actually invest in the capacity of populations locally in different locations to gather very useful information. You know, sometimes diseases happen in particular location and everybody's surprised that this disease is happening here. Looking at this kind of data can basically give us some intelligence or background information on what is going on in particular locations.
Public health officials are benefiting from the results of the ZIKA education and prevention project. They use the data to determine if there will be an outbreak of ZIKA or other such disease based on the larvae count and the projected survival rate of mosquito larvae. The Globe ZIKA Education and Prevention Project has now built self-sustaining regional networks in Africa, Latin America, and the Caribbean, and Asia and the Pacific. Mosquitoes may be the world's most dangerous animal, but monitoring efforts can bring early warning of potential disease outbreaks. As a result, teachers and citizen scientists can help public health officials and professional scientists make important decisions about how to control the spread of ZIKA virus and other mosquito-borne diseases.
Okay. So that's available as well on the, oh, I gotta stop sharing this. I guess I'll go over to my other one. Let's find my PowerPoint again here. Can everybody see that or no?
Not yet. Not yet.
You can see the PowerPoint?
No.
No, okay. So let me go back. Can you see it now?
Nope.
Nope, okay. Let me get out of it and get back into the Zoom piece here. It's a lot of fun, all of these different screens. Okay, there we go. All right, and let me see if I can do this in the presenter view and if it will come up correct this time. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so so that's the ZIKA Education and Prevention Project. It was very, very successful, and I hope that folks who were involved in the region there also got a lot out of the project and believe that it's helped both the program and this whole issue around vector-borne diseases. And we saw some of those folks in the video there, Malika and Chris and Rod, and I forgive me if I don't remember who else was in the video, but there were various glimpses of people there. So, and that video is available on the Globe channel as well, if you want to show it to people. Also, we just had our big Earth Day celebration, of course, and again, it was a very different type of Earth Day. Last year, we also experienced a very different type of Earth Day experience for all of us around the world. And so a common feature of the Earth Day event is the drawing of the IVSF students, winners, I guess, from the IVSS. And then also some other announcements from the program. There was also some clips from the sponsors of the program, giving some remarks, wishing everybody a happy Earth Day. And one of the new things that we also announced was a pilot initiative called Vloggers. And so there's a number of students that have been selected through an application process. 2 students from each region for this pilot initiative. And these students, there's 1 male and 1 female from each region, are going to document through videos what they're doing, learning, and discovering with Globe in their daily lives. And then these will be available on the YouTube channel. And we're hoping that there will be 1 a month that will be coming out from the students and various students. And you can see all of the students listed there. There are 2, as I said, from each region, and the 2 from Asia and Pacific are from the Philippines and from India. And so these students were all chosen through an application process. They all applied. We had actually a lot of applications for this, considering the amount of time that, or the advanced notice, I guess, that we gave to students for this. And a lot of the videos will also appear on the social media channels that Globe has. So Facebook, Instagram, I guess, if I don't know if videos can play on Instagram. I'm not an Instagram person, but certainly on Facebook, and they'll also be intertwined with the other media channels, certainly YouTube as well. So this is a very exciting initiative, I think, and something that's really student-based. And Autumn Burdick, who's working with the Globe Observer team and is out of SSAI, was initiated this with Jan Hyrer in our office. And so I'm really looking forward to seeing some of these episodes as they come out from the students and come back from the students. And so this is a pilot for the year, and we'll see how it goes and see if it will continue afterwards or not. And as I said, the other thing that happens, the other big piece that happens, of course, at the on Earth Day, apart from celebrating the Earth and so on, is the drawing for the International Virtual Science Symposium winners. And we actually had 242 projects submitted this year from 20 countries, which is pretty amazing because it's almost the exact same number as we had submitted last year. And remember, last year's would have been all of the research and data collection and so on would have been done probably the year prior to last year. And so this, for a COVID year and for something that could have impacted the number of projects a lot, it really didn't have very much of an impact at all. And we're very happy about that. And hopefully that will continue into 2022. And we will likely, although I'm not sure, we'll have to discuss it, but this year, as you all know, we didn't require data to be collected as part of it, although many students did. Because of COVID, we did not require that, and we suggested that people use the data that's in the database. And a lot of them did that as well, but a large number of them actually did collect data and were safe in collecting that data. and use that. So we will probably continue that for 2022 in that fresh data will not be required. But if students want to do that, they can. And so then there were, from that 242, there were 79 projects that were eligible for the drawing. And to be eligible for the drawing, each project had to receive a 4-star student research badge and at least 2 other optional badges from the judges. And we also had, and I can't remember the exact number now, we had a very large number of judges this year too. So if you were a judge in the IVSS, thank you very much for your time and your efforts and your judging. And I know there are a number of you out there that were, and so thank you for doing that and taking the time to support the students, mentor students, and encourage them to do this research in this difficult time. And so from the region, in that random selection from the projects for the Asia Pacific, one was chosen, and that is the project on the effect of population density on burrow characteristics in the fiddler crab, and from Thailand, and from the Chilburn Science High School. Always a very consistent school in the program. And thank you for all of your work in encouraging the school to stay active and engaged for the year. All right, and then one of the other new pieces, oops, that came along here, if I can go on to the next slide, there we go. The training process, and we've been talking about this for quite a while, and it's finally getting on to the stage of further implementation. And so in the next couple of weeks, you will be hearing about, and you should already know that there will be a new training process. And there will be a system, and Cornell and David Overroy and the SSAI team are building that system, that infrastructure, and getting it in place so that the system, so that the actual process itself can start. And so all of this information that you can see here is on the Globe website under the trainers link. And then these documents, actually show you the flow of the process. And thanks to Rod for his work on generating these and coming up with those in the first place. And so these are also available on the website, and you can follow what the process is through these diagrams here. And it really is a great way of explaining the process, rather than looking at a narrative and a document itself. So if you're interested in becoming a trainer, or if you have people in your country that are interested in being trainers, this is the process that they would follow. And so it involves the country coordinator and getting some approval from the country coordinator, and then also having a mentor trainer, and that's a new characteristic, I guess, that we have, or a new position, I guess, in the program. Many of you are master trainers, and we are changing that classification from a master trainer to a mentor trainer. And so the master trainers will be hearing from us as well in the next couple of weeks about making that transition and how that transition will happen. And so if you're a candidate trainer, you would be put with a mentor trainer for that training process. And so that process goes through there. There's three steps to this process. And hopefully it should be very clearly laid out here in this. And the infrastructure that's being created follows this very closely. And so we're hoping that a lot of this process will also be very easy for the applicants to understand and to track their application as time goes by on this. So that is Let's see if I can get that to here. Let me use this. Here. Okay. Can you see that yet? Can you see the PowerPoint yet, or is it? No, I'm going to
It
PowerPoint.
says a working group protocols.
Oh, yep. Okay. So training process. Okay, got it. So, sorry. So protocols. The science working group and Molika may talk to this as well. And actually, thanks to Rod and the other education working group members for their work on the training process. And you know, I'm not sure if Rod is going to talk about that at any point or not during the meeting, but it's great to have working group members here at the meeting as well, to hear from them about their work. And so on the science working group side, there is, we've all been talking for a while about deactivating some protocols, and the deactivation report has been submitted to GIO and to NASA, and we'll be looking at that and having some conversation internally then about the recommendations from the science working group on which protocols should be deactivated and which ones should remain the same, should remain activated. And just as a point, when we say deactivated, what that basically means is that you will not be able to enter data for that protocol. And everything else that's associated with the protocol will still be available on the website. So the actual protocol itself, any learning activities that went with it, any other materials that really were associated with the protocol will stay on the website. And the reason for that is that there is a point where a deactivated protocol may be requested to be activated again for various reasons. And those reasons will be dependent probably on why the protocol was deactivated in the first place. So if it was instrumentation or some reason like that, that was the main reason. And the instruments have changed over time, as we all know. Technology and instruments change over time. That if that happens, and then the science working group is also starting to work on a protocol proposal process, right? New protocols that could be brought into the program, and we know that there's a lot of conversation and discussion in the community about bringing on some new protocols. So the science working group is starting to look at that process. We do have an existing process in this case, but it's outdated and needs to be updated and reviewed for possible new steps that might be introduced into that process. When that process was originally written, for example, the working groups were not in existence. So it's certainly something that working groups would want to be involved with. Next slide, I'm going to finish pretty quickly because I know I've taken a lot of time. So just to let you know that there are now 5 working groups. We have the existing education, evaluation, science, and technology working groups, but we also introduced the diversity, equity, and inclusion working group this past year. And all of the working groups, I just gave examples there from 2, but all of the working groups are working very hard for us all as community members. And the technology group works with SSAI, with Cornell and Dave and Lisa. And Chris is here from the technology working group. So, you know, there's a lot of work that goes on in each of the working groups. The diversity, equity, and inclusion working group is starting off already and has been working on a needs assessment with the community on materials in the program that might need some updating based on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So they already hit the ground running, as it were, on a particular topic as well. And then also as a reminder that, you know, the nomination process for this happens generally in September, October timeframe after the annual meeting. And there is generally a spot or available on one of the working groups for the region that you're in. They probably won't come up for every working group every year, but over a number of years they come up, and this is partly for staggering members on the group and making sure that people stay on the group that have knowledge, and then that new people also come into the process. So keep your eyes open if you're interested in being on a working group. And that process starts in September, October, and is finished, the nomination process is finished around December. And new people join the working group in January. A quick piece about the GLOBE Programs app, Globe Observer. So there's been a lot of work continuing the enhancement of the tools within the app, and as I spoke already about the mosquito habitat mapper, a lot of enhancements were done to that through the funding from the Department of State. And there's also the clouds and land cover and trees are the other tools that are in the app. There's a number of campaigns, as you can see here. This is the one about the trees campaign, which is continuing right now and going through May 15th. And then there's also a newly published article available on the Observer pages. And the Observer pages, if you're not sure where they are, they're inside the GLOBE program website, and you can go and find those under the Do Globes tab on the top. Looking at the regional meetings, and Desh asked me to talk a little bit about this. So all of the regional meetings this year will likely be virtual, even the ones that are coming up at the end of the year, because we still don't know what the situation is with the virus. And even though things seem to be improving in some places, they are getting much worse in others. And so the annual meeting in July, as you all know, will be a virtual meeting. And then the other regional meetings that are in the fall will all likely be virtual as well. We have had a new country join as well recently, and that's the country of Bhutan in the Asia and Pacific region. And we're very excited about getting Bhutan on board, and we'll be working with Desh about trying to get the folks there onboarded onto the programs, onto the program, and understanding the implementation of the program in the country. And so we'll be working with Desh on that. And hopefully, you know, in 2022, there will be a lot of the pandemic will be behind us all, and we'll be able to get back to face-to-face meetings in that year. However, you know, that comes with the caveat that the pandemic will be behind us, and that it will be safe for people to travel, and it will be safe for people to congregate together and have meetings. And I'm very hopeful of that will happen in 2022, but we still have a ways to go, I think, with the pandemic. And hopefully we'll come out of this by the end of the year. And with that, I just also want to remind you that our Globe Help email has changed. If you haven't realized that, or if you haven't heard about that, it used to be help@globe.gov. And for many of us, that was embossed in our brains for 25 years of involvement with the program. And so we have to exit that one and put in this new one in its place. And so if you need help, or if you have questions about anything and you want to contact the community support team for the program overall, and Desh does a great job of helping in the region, but if there are other questions that you have, you should use this new address. So it's globehelp@ucar.edu. And with that, I'm going to end. Desh, I think I took more time than I should, but if you have, if anybody has a question, that they want to ask now, that's great. And if not, that's fine too. I'm just going to check the chats. Okay, there was nothing in the chat. If there are any questions.
Any question to Tony? If there is no question, Tony, thank you very much for a wonderful presentation. This has been great, and I think the start of this regional meeting is great way, and the overall what you mentioned in your presentation is great and will be very helpful.
And
I like to mention here only one thing, that in our region we have 16 active countries. And out of 16 active countries, 12 are present here.
Oh, great.
I give the names, like we have Australia here. We have India, not the country coordinator, but the teachers. Micronesia, Quincy, can I see your face? Australia, Bill. Bill, can we see you? Okay. Then Micronesia, Quincy is there. Japan, Dr. Koya. You know, I'm glad that they get the funding for this year.
Yep.
Then we have Thailand. Also, we have IPST director and deputy director here. We welcome them all. New Zealand, Victoria, she's always with us.
Yep.
Then Vietnam, Chiu is there. Then Philippines, Rod and his team. Taiwan, the host of yesterday wonderful event. And I hope when the COVID will be gone, then we are going to have face-to-face meeting there. And as promised by Rod, we will have party at 101. Nepal, Yoginder is there. Then Pulau, Devi is here. Then Sri Lanka, Damayanti is here. Then also we have all the working group members here. We welcome them. Only 4 countries. Maldives, Sean told me that he held up in a island with no internet.
Okay.
We could have joined. So Fiji, South Korea, and Marshall Island. These
Okay.
are the only one which have not joined. So we have 75% plus presentation at this rate, at this meeting, which is great.
That's
we
good.
had participants, which will fluctuate. And many of them, they keep on asking me, can we also join the meeting? Let us see. Maybe more participants will join. This is wonderful. And I think we are very happy to welcome all of you. And if there is no question to ask to Dr. Tony, can I request Cornell for his presentation? Tony, you want to say something? I think.
I just wanted to add that a great thanks to Dr. Palin and his team for yesterday for the student presentations. And it was wonderful to actually see a group of people together in a room presenting projects to one another. And so it gave me, it lifted my heart up to actually see people together like that, and really hopeful that we can come out of this pandemic and be back together again shortly. So
see so many students together after a long time like this. And I hope you remember he hosted us regional meeting last time, which was great event.
It was a great event. It was a great event. So thank you, Dr. Palin, for doing that yesterday. And to your team as well, to all your team.
And also, Tony, I like to, before I give to Cornell, our host for the next meeting, next year meeting, the Director IPST and his deputy, Dr. Wo, they are here. Would you like to say a few words for the regional meeting next year? It's okay. They could not follow what I say. It's okay. Maybe Dr. Cornell, to you, take as much as time you can, because we were very, thorough with the new Globe website. As you can see that most of the country coordinators are here. It will be very beneficial for all of us, your presentation. To Dr. Cornell. Yeah.
Thank you for allowing me to present early. It's 9 p.m. here. So it's not quite my bedtime, but it's getting close. So hello, everyone. For those who know me and for those who don't know me, I'm the one of the web managers for the globe.gov website. And today I'm going to be presenting, like I typically do at these meetings. I talk about what's happened since the last meeting and then what's coming for the coming year. So I'll start my presentation. I was able to use Tony as the guinea pig to work out all the kinks. So hopefully,
Well, I hope I did.
hopefully I'll be able to switch it if mine does the same thing that yours did. So if I present, okay, are you seeing the same thing that he was seeing before?
No, I think you're okay.
We're okay?
We're just seeing one screen with,
You see the one screen? Okay, that's good. Oop.
there you go.
Just move some stuff out of the way here. Let's see. Okay. Okay, let's see if this works. Okay. So what is new since last year? So I hope as everyone is aware, we introduced a new version of the website software, LifeRay. We're at 7.2 now. It was delivered in November. So that means that the site looks the same to a, who's drawing? Somebody put a, there you go, thank you. So yeah, the site looks the same to guests, but for the admin portion of the site, it is different. And we did update the tutorials on the website that explains, how to manage your country page and how to add news and events and how to manage users and organizations. I can show that briefly again, just for those who, I can sort of summarize what's been done. There is a sort of a summary page at that link that's on the screen. So we work to make many things the same, but like I said, some things are different. So let me jump to the website real quick. Stop sharing. And then I will share the screen again. So this is our staging environment. So it looks the same, but it's not production. So you see some test data. But I wanted to show you what I'm logged in as a country coordinator, our staging site, but it works the same. So you'll see that the site looks the same to users, but when you're logged in, you see this bar at the top, and you click on this little icon, opens up a side panel that allows you to then jump to your organization. In this case, it's Thailand, and the communities you may belong to. You can jump to your data, viz. So that's all similar to where it was on the old site, just in a different location. If you go to your country, and this may be a little slower, given that we're on Zoom. It's our staging site. It's not too long. When you get to your country page, so in this case, this example, I'm the CC of Thailand. So you'll see that then Thailand pops over here, and this is where you can manage your country. So there's a site builder which contains all the pages. So if you want to add new pages, edit pages, that's here. Brings up the page structure of the site. There's content data, which has web content, and then web. This closes it. So I want to go back to the site. We have a delay here. Okay, so here's the site. And again, it has the same structure. So about and contacts, still has the ability for you to edit the main contacts. You can still drag this up and down. You can still add new contacts. That's all the same. Then for managing users, there's still the partner dashboard. There's still the workshop admin under manage, school status reports, and then users and organizations. You have the ability still to manage users in your organization, so the schools under your country as well. You can filter by user group. So if I wanted to see just club members or just teachers, I can do that to find users in the organizations. So all the schools that are under your organization, you can see the schools and manage the schools that way. Okay, so that's just a very quick sort of a review of the changes for country coordinators. Again, if you have any questions, you can submit a question to the help desk, or you can ask me. I think tomorrow there'll be a session to ask questions. So if you have any issues with your country, just let me know and I can help you through that.
So, Cornell, Victoria has an issue. She just put it in the chat. She doesn't see the site manage bit in her page.
Where's the chat? No, I don't see the chat. I don't see the chat.
The chat down where you're, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I see the site managed bit on my page. All right, so you may not have the right permission. So I'll make a note and I'll take a look at your account when I finish the presentation. Okay. Let me go back to the presentation. It still sees that? Okay. Still see the one screen?
Yep.
Okay. So the other big thing is data entry forms. So as you may or may not be aware, we are merging the two apps. There's the Global Observer and there's the Globe Data Entry apps, and we're going to merge them into one. It's just going to be Global Observer. So you'll be able to do all data entry using one app. So what are the features? We're bringing the two apps together. It will support protocol bundles, the idea of grouping of protocols. You create your own bundle. You can use the Globe specified bundles. It simplifies the site creation and data entry process. And it will look the same on mobile, desktop, iOS, and Android. So same interface regardless of what platform you are using. So how will it work? So there will be a new button at the top. If you are a Train Globe member, you'll see a data entry link. That will take you to a screen where you can enter data for all the protocols. So the four existing Global Observer modules will still be there. So clouds, mosquitoes, land covered trees will still be there, but you also have the ability to enter all the other measurements and all the other protocols on the same app. Now, if you are e-trained Globe Observer, the country coordinator has to approve the ability for trained Globe Observers to enter all data. So that has to be approved by the CC. Once that's approved, anyone that is an e-trained Globe Observer will also see the link to enter data for all protocols. If you're just a Globe Observer, an untrained citizen scientist, it will look just like it does now. They won't see that button at the top, but they'll see the clouds, mosquitoes, land cover, trees, will all still be there. Okay. So all of your existing sites will still be there. For new sites, you only need to enter the site definition parameters for the protocols you choose. So as you remember in the current version, it was more cumbersome. You had to set up a site for a particular protocol. Then you gotta know sort of which site do I set up for which protocol. Now you just choose the protocol you want and the system will walk you through the rest of the steps. So it's a more intuitive process and more easier to use. So in the new system, the way it works is you choose your school. If you're more than one school, you choose the protocol you want, you choose the site from a list or a map. And if you've never done a protocol at that site, the system will prompt you for any required site definition fields. Many protocols don't have any, but if it does, it will ask you for it in sort of a step-by-step manner, and then you enter the data. So we think it's a more intuitive, very straightforward approach than what it is now. So let me give you a quick demo of what it's going to look like. So what happens when I click on that button at the top where it says atmosphere data entry? Let me just stop sharing this screen. And I will go to my next screen. All right, so this is it's an emulator showing what the app would look like. I clicked on the data entry button. I'm sent to this screen. So if I'm on a desktop, I'll see the same interface. Of course, there are certain things you can't do on a desktop that you can do on a phone, which I'll talk about later. But for now, so if I want to enter a new observation, I click on new observations. I get the list of the spheres. So right now, the initial release, only atmosphere will be available. So the other spheres will not be available in this version. You'll still have to use the old data entry app while we're migrating all the protocols over to this one app. So initially, when we do this first release, all the atmosphere protocols will be on this app. So you'll see when you first start, there's a 0 that shows how many you've selected. So then if I want to select the protocol I want to enter data, let's say I want to do air temperature, I selected just a 1. Then I go to continue. I pick the school that I want to enter data for. Then it brings up my lat long of my location. And you can see that it tells me where I am. At this point, I can select an existing site if there's already one in the area where I am, or I can create a new site. These are sites from other people that have created sites from the same organization. But these are my sites. So if I want to create a new one, I would click this new button. So now I'm going to create a new site. I can enter a name. So first I can drag this where I want to put it. Let's say I want to put it over here at the lagoon, so that I can call it my lagoon site. Save it. Then it asks me, since it knows that I'm doing air temperature, it's going to ask me what's the thermometer type. So I'll just select this one. This is other information about the site. It's not required, but it's information about the site that you may want to enter in now, or you can do it later. You see, it's not a required field. There's no asterisk there. So I can just say next. Then I can pick the date. I can pick the time. Then I go to the actual air temperature field. I enter in the temperature. It gives me the range. So So I can say 50. Enter in comments. I go to review. So now what I just entered is there to review. And then I can send my submission. Submit it. Done. I can further define the site. I can go back to the home page. So the next example, let's say I want to I want to enter more than one protocol. Let's say I want to do air temperature, I want to do precipitation, relative humidity. So now I've got 3. So when I go continue, I can pick the school. There's my elevation. There's a site I just created. I'll just use that site again. Site's right here. Again, it's optional. I can enter now or later. Let's just skip it for now. Time and then air temperature. So I put in the temperature. Now it's going to say, okay, the next protocol you pick is precipitation. So that's next. So I hit precipitation. And I can put what's required. This is all, I believe this is all optional. You can enter it if there is any. The humidity, that's the third protocol that I created. I've selected. So I go to humidity. So it just takes me through the steps. I know what's required, goes to the range. Review. So now those are the 3 that I've selected. I can review, I can edit the measurement if I need to, and then I can submit. Okay, done. You see the happy face. Also, what's here are bundles. We talked about the ability to either select from a predefined set of bundles that was created by the GLOBE program. So you see the ones that are available for. Now you see right now, you will only see the atmosphere protocols, even though there may be additional protocols in this bundle that's under biosphere or hydrosphere or pedosphere. What's available for this first release. So once we do in I think hydrosphere, you'll see all the mosquito protocol here as well. But for now, it's just the atmosphere. So you can, if you select one, it will then pre-select what's in that bundle. So now it's selected the protocols that's in that bundle. Or you can create your own bundle. So as you're selecting protocols, you have the option to save it. So next time you come, it's frequently a set of protocols. You just go to my protocol bundles. Like here's one that I created for air temperature, biometric pressure, and relative humidity. I select that. It pre-selects. Well, I guess I didn't name it correctly. Anyway, if I had selected all 3 and saved it, and then I can just go through the same process. The last thing I want to show protocol is clouds. So clouds is an existing protocol already in the Globe Observer app. So what happens if I would do clouds? I go continue. I pick the school, site information, clouds. It then sends me to a screen that looks just like the current screen for cloud that's on the Globe Observer app. So then it's the same process as what it is the way it is now. Looks the same, you go through the same process. If you do it for the current cloud app, skip control, just skip this, and then. So same interface. You got to click all these. If you're on the desktop, you won't have the option, the cloud identification wizard, or the the auto photo options using the device compass. See that because I'm on my computer, but you can still add manually. And then you go to review, and it's the same process. Now, if I want to further define the sites that I've created, like an example I did with the lagoon, I didn't enter other information about the site, like the atmosphere. I can enter in the thermometer height, the obstacles can be entered here in the building coverage. So I can always, but as you're going through and doing the measurements, it's only going to ask you for what's required. So in this case, the required, but the rest of it's optional. But of course, you know, it's good to fill in the if you have it. So that's a very quick overview of the app that's coming. Are there any questions on it before I continue?
Hey, Cornell, this is Peter Falcon. I have a question. Use the app to do trainings. When we're doing any trainings, is there anything we can do that's any different, or set up a training site?
It's the training not tied to the app. So you wouldn't be able to use the app to do any training.
Okay.
I mean, you can enter test data and delete it, or test sites and delete none. That's one way of doing the training.
Gotcha. Okay, thank you, Cornell.
There's a question about Globe Team functionality as it pertains to the app, or just Globe Teams in general. I'll talk about Globe Teams in a minute. We don't have the ability to select your team when you are entering the data. It's all based on the school organization. But we know that there's an interest in expanding some of the team functionality, and there are some things we're doing for Globe Teams that I'll talk about in a few minutes. So let me return back to my presentation then. So as I mentioned, atmosphere will initially be done with the remaining spheres rolling out in the months ahead. We expect the release of the atmosphere version by the end of this month, and we expect all spheres to be done by the end of the year. So hopefully you like what you see, and you think that it's an improvement to what we have now. Having one app, I think, will be less confusion as far as which app you should use. You just use the one app. So what else is going on? So there are other things that are going to be coming to the website for this year. One thing is an improved site architecture to make it easier to find what you need. There'll be a simplified account request and setup process, better support for student accounts and student tracking, better support for using Globe Teams, and the new mentor training process that Tony mentioned in his presentation. So as far as the improved site architecture, one thing that we've always thought was a little confusing is that there's so much under Duke Globe, and oftentimes people aren't sure exactly where to find things under Duke Globe. So we wanted to split some of those things out. We wanted the protocols right at the top. So if you're looking for the protocols, it's right there. There'll be a section for if I want to do some sort of research, I'm looking for resources, it's in a different section. And we wanted to make campaigns more prominent than it is now. So we pulled those three things out of Duke Globe. And then we've changed Get Training to more of a training and tutorial section. So if you want to, that's the place where you want to go for all the training and all the tutorials. We're not going to have some tutorials over here and some tutorials over here. They're all going to be in one place. So that's some of the improved site architecture. As far as the simplified account creation process, we want to make it so everyone follows the same path when you create an account. Instead of having multiple account types, there'll be one account type. Everyone gets a Globe account. Everyone, once they create their account, they can start taking Globe observations using the app right away as a Globe observer. You can stop there. But if you are a teacher and educator, you want to do more, of course, then you can extend your training and knowledge by becoming trained or certified. You do the e-training or e-certification. Once you pass that, now you're qualified to do observations for all the protocols, and not just the ones on the observer site, on the observer app. There's 4. You can do protocol measurements for all protocols. But if you want to do more, and if you are a teacher and you want to actually use Globe in your classroom, and you want to be able to have your own school organizations, be able to manage users on the organization, have your own personal My Page, be essentially a full Globe participant, which is called a Globe member right now. We're going to change that to Globe collaborator. Then you have to go to a workshop. You have to be verified or vetted in some way so we know who you are. And then you can get the full permissions to do Globe, create student accounts, all those things, post the forms. So we want to have it more of a linear process that everyone can follow to make it easier to get in the system and then understand what you can do at each step. So that's in progress. Student accounts, we want to make it so, right now, student accounts, the measurements are associated with the teacher. We want to make the measurements associated with the student account. So that way, teachers can track the actual measurement of the student by just looking at the measurements associated with that student's account. It will still be a student account where the student's name will not be identified anywhere on the site. We will still protect the student's identity, but it will allow teachers to track their measurements. We want to make it so student accounts are configurable to allow measurements to be filtered by a school year, so a teacher can reuse the same student accounts every year, as opposed to having to create new student accounts and just reuse the same ones. So just make it easier to manage student accounts. You can assign student accounts to Globe teams when you create the account. You can create multiple student accounts at one time. We'll increase the number of student accounts from what it is now. We've talked about having a more of a fun naming convention for the student accounts, so the students can just have more fun with the name. A lot of games will do this where they'll auto create a name. Crazy Clouds Maker 7 or something. We'll have a way of auto-generated names, and there'll be a series of avatars that they can pick an avatar from the system. So they'll be able to identify themselves with the avatar and with the fun name, just to make it a little more fun for the students. Students will get a dashboard so they can see their observations and their data sites, and then just better instruction on when to use a student account versus a regular Globe account. I know some teachers aren't sure which account type to use, and really the student accounts are designed more, I think, for the younger students. And then if it's a student that's older, then you might want to give them just a regular Globe Observer account or a Globe account that they can then use their real email address. We still won't display their name. They'll also have these fun auto-generated names. But at least once they have a regular account, that account can stay with them as they move on from high school into college. They can keep that same account. Whereas student account is not really, it doesn't carry on with the student. It's student account is attached to the teacher. So that's the difference between those two. So we want to better explain that for teachers to understand how that works. We also want to have a user dashboard. Everyone has a My Page right now, but we want to better utilize that as having a customizable dashboard for all Go participants to make it easier to find their data, resources, content they use the most. We'll better organize it so when a guest goes to the person's dashboard, they can learn about what the person is doing, what protocols they're using, and a more effective interface to share accomplishments, awards, recognition, and interest. So this is like an example of what it might look like, where you've got the top, just a summary of what the person is doing in terms of data they're using, observations, number of student projects. The person can post, if they have a particular collaboration objective, they can post what they'd like to do. And then it just breaks down, their profile, their organizations, their data, their certification, student information, collaboration, blogs. Here's an example of what the data site might look. The data section, it has their sites, has their recent observations. They can see all links to the app, the data entry app. So if I'm what I see and what the guest sees is a little different. So I don't think I have an example of what the guest would see, but the idea is that as a user, if I go to my dashboard, it's a way for me to quickly get to my sites, a way for me to quickly manage my student accounts. It's a way for me to see protocols that I typically use, my certifications, all these things that a user may want to be able to get to quickly. We want to organize in a way where they can find their information and resources. So there'll be more on this later once we get into implementation. There'll be more discussion about what this will look like and how it's going to work. But this is the general idea of the dashboard concept.